increasing sales, lowering your ACOS, low CPC, and high conversion rate. Those are some of the things that Amazon sellers dream about. And our guest today, Ritu Java, the CEO of PPC Ninja, can bring all of your PPC dreams to life. Hi, Ritu. Welcome to the show.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm
Ritu.
Hey,
Hi.
how's it going,
Good
guys?
to have you back on, Ritu.
Sorry.
It's great to have you back on.
Oh, thank you so much. I love you guys. I just love being here with you.
Oh, fantastic. That's
Yeah.
nice.
We love you too,
Yeah.
Ritu. We
Yeah.
really appreciate all of the content that you're sharing with the community, and you've been engaging with people in the group as well. Of course, you were on the previous Viz show, and yeah, we really appreciate all that you're doing. And we're super excited about our upcoming workshop.
I know.
PPC
Yeah.
workshop. Oh my God. That's going to be so cool. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is Ritu has some slides to share, and we're going to be talking about how smart sellers are advertising their way to success. And then, people are free to ask any PPC related questions that they have from Ritu. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the upcoming workshop. So Ritu, do you want to go ahead and share your screen and let's go through the slides, and also before you get into the slides, do a bit of an intro as well, just to tell people your background and what exactly you do.
Yeah, love to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll give you a mini version of my backstory. I'm a digital nomad, accidental digital nomad because I was born in India. I moved to Japan. I lived there for 17 years and started my e-commerce business there on Etsy, which is this portal for handmade goods. And I was manufacturing my own jewelry and selling there. Realized pretty quickly that just having a listing up on a portal doesn't mean that you're going to sell, right? So I had to teach myself everything about advertising, marketing, blogging, photography, like the whole thing, the whole gamut of things that go with being an entrepreneur. And then I realized that I needed to understand the basics of data, and so I went back to school. So I had already kind of done my engineering way back when, and then I decided to go back to school in the United States, and I moved there about 5 years ago. I did a course in data, and then moved on to becoming the CEO of PPC. So I'm here, PPC Ninja, and I'm here in Canada now for the past 3.5 years, and I am helping Amazon sellers, get very proficient with their Amazon PPC. We do a lot of masterminds. A bunch of you have probably attended one of my mastermind courses. They're free, and we have them for 4 weeks. But today we're just going to be talking about how the trends that I've seen in the industry, and how very smart sellers are actually advertising their way to success. So they come out of nowhere, and they will be on the top of page one, or they will be ranking, they will be crushing it on Amazon, right? And so today I'm just going to talk about a few of the things that they pay attention to, so that you guys can also start paying attention to those things. And feel free to ask me questions at the end. I don't know how the system works here, but I guess you might be able to type in your question, and someone will pick it up and flash it on the screen, right?
Yes. So type in your questions in the comments wherever you're watching from, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Type in the comments, whatever questions you have, and then we will display the questions on the screen, and Ritu will address them. Jacob is with us. Hi, Jacob. How's it going? Sell everywhere, multi-platform.
I love it.
Jacob is fellow Canadian, Ritu.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to go ahead and share your slides?
I will do that. All right. So let me just
let's get started.
Screen.
So, the meanwhile, people watching, would love if you could give a like or a love or share this video wherever you're watching from. It, really helps if
Hi,
you.
Jacob. And maybe you'll get more secret sauce.
Yeah. Jacob.
Okay, let's get started.
Yeah, so Jacob is part of Canada. I'm from Vancouver, so just feel free to type in where you're from. Cool. Awesome. So we're going to be talking about how smart sellers are advertising their way to success. And this is based on, all the sellers that I've worked with, watching them kind of grow and, observing how really big brands, 8-figure sellers, 7-figure sellers, how they are able to be successful on Amazon with the help of advertising. Because there is millions and millions of products on Amazon. Even within your own space, within your own niche, you will see competitors everywhere. There's no product that doesn't have at least a page full of competitors, right? So how do you get visibility on such a competitive platform? Like how do you make yourself known? How do you make yourself be visible, and how do you rank, right? So those are the concerns of most of you guys who are watching this. So I think what I've observed and brought this down to is basically just 5 steps that I'm just going to share with you. 5 strategies that people do and follow on Amazon, and this is how they can actually get to the top of page 1, get their rankings high, and so on. So of course there's a black hat way of doing it, which I'm not going to be talking about, but this is purely based on PPC, how you use PPC to rise to the top. All right, so first tip is basically you want to go mimic the big fish, right? So there is brands that have been around for a while, right? If you're starting new, you're starting small, you want to always be watching your competitors. Like you always want to be watching the biggest fish in the pond and see what they are doing. So you want to just mimic them, right? So that's the first thing you want to be doing regularly. Second, you want to be riding on your competitor's success. And what that means is that you can actually set up ads that will follow your competitors, right? So let's say if you have 5 major competitors in your space, and then there's one of them that has a tremendous amount of traffic, right? So your goal should be to follow that big competitor so that you can take advantage of all the traffic that they get naturally, right? Through their organic reach, through their advertising. So what happens is that when you advertise against an existing competitor or an existing product, then your ads can show up in close proximity to wherever they're showing up, right? So imagine you have a sponsored brand ad that is doing a product targeting on a big brand. What will happen is that you're likely to show up even on page 1 without being organically ranked on that page. You could be targeting keywords, or you could be targeting products. So this second approach here, riding on competitor success, is based on product targeting and category targeting. And now every single ad type out there, so that's sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display, all 3 of them offer competitor async targeting, right? So you want to be able to use all of those mechanisms to reach your competitors and get the traffic that they naturally get, right? So that's the second one. The third one, super important, is to diversify. So Jacob said multi-channel, so that's great. But if you're only selling on Amazon, you want to diversify your ad types. You want to make sure that you take all the placements that are there for you. So you can take the first, the top of search. You can take above the fold. You can take video ads, which is right in the middle of your search results page. You can go after bottom of page. There's so many placements, right? So if you are targeting right, then your ad can show up in multiple places, and that just snowballs your chances of conversions and your chances of being successful on Amazon. So knowing how to diversify smartly without really losing your money is a super important skill to have. And this is one of the things we cover in the workshop that is coming up pretty soon. So just wanted to mention that this is something we will be covering. The fourth thing is how to train the algorithm. So you want to train the algorithm by making early associations with keywords, with other types of targets, so that you're paying for it from your pocket initially, but Amazon learns what is associated with your product, which keywords are associated, which other products are associated, which other complementary products are associated with your product. Now, this might happen organically also, but it takes a very long time. And if you want to cut short that process, you want to pay for training. You're literally training the algorithm. You take it into your hands. Don't allow Amazon to take its own sweet time for you to get there. You want to get there on your terms, on your timeline, right? So that's something that successful sellers do very well, because they know exactly how to train the algorithms so that things work in their favor over time. And then finally, you've got to be obsessed with data. I know a lot of you don't like data or find it, you find PPC boring or whatever, but a lot of you, you just look at data and like, wow, your eyes light up like me. I just I just love data. So being obsessed with data has, it comes with its positives, because, with data, you are on top of everything. You are able to see what is happening, not only in your own data, but also in your competitors' data, also in the way things play out on Amazon overall. So you want to be obsessed with data. You want to be watching every possible source of data that's available to you. And there's a lot of free sources. So don't think that this is associated with spending on tools. There's a lot of free tools. There's some paid tools that are really good as well. So there's brand analytics, which, you get a lot of data from Amazon for free. So, having these 5, in your toolkit, you can really, kind of rise to the top of page 1 very quickly. There is no shortcut, of course. You've got to do these things, but I'm just going to show you some examples. So before I show you examples, if there are any questions on what I just shared, feel free to ask, or pause us and let us know if there's anything.
Yeah, Ritu, just there's been a lot of talk about video ads being the latest trend. Do you find that has sort of taken a bit of a leap ahead of the other PPC, or is that to you just still, run of the mill? What's your opinion on the video ads?
The video ads, right? Yeah, and I have some examples from video ads. I think video ads are an amazing way to cut short that that training period, because with video ads you can associate keywords, and video ads seem to have a very high click-through rate. So they are a shortcut to establishing this 4th point, which is training the algorithm. So you're training your algorithm through keywords, and video ads are a great way of doing it. So it's not just the conversion; it's also the training part of it.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of questions over here. Gayatri says hello. Alan is here. Hi, Alan.
Hello.
Gayatri says PPC is not boring. It is challenging for me.
Gayatri, yes.
Okay, Jake keeps saying, when you say mimic the big fish, beyond what we can see on an ASIN, what are some other ways to see what they are doing? Love to hear many ways.
Perfect. So let me show you my first slide, which is exactly that. So yeah. So my first slide is about mimicking the big fish. So store pages. These are a great way to mimic the big fish. Now, this company, the Bamboo Design, I don't know if you guys have heard about it or not. They have a really sexy page. I mean, this page is amazing. It's got so many different ways to use simple bamboo products. And yeah, it just blew me away the way they kind of laid out everything. Everything is very tastefully done. Now, this is easy for, because Amazon provides you like a modular way to set up a sort of mini website within Amazon's ecosystem. So it's really easy for you to set this up, and it looks neat and professional. All you need to do is invest in a little bit of high quality photos, and then you're good to go. And of course, there's some thought that needs to be, that needs to go into the way you lay things out and the messages you use and stuff like that. But that alone can, make you like an overnight success, like an overnight superstar, by just taking advantage of what Amazon already offers. So that's one of the ways to kind of mimic the big fish. I'm going to show you this this company. I think they're called the Royal Craft Wood. Okay, so this is their page, the same guy that I was just showing you. So this, if I go to my SEM Rush or whatever tool you use for finding out, history, domain history and stuff like that, I just plugged it into my SEM Rush, and I can see that this company was not launched too long ago. It was just a year ago even. The traffic coming to this website is less than 500 visits a day. So definitely has grown over the pandemic and has become a prominent brand primarily on Amazon, right? So this is the way you can actually mimic. I can also show you their main page. Like they have this, they've got just so much going on here. Like they have used, okay, so this was just one listing, but if you go down, they've made they've offered a bundle here, right? And they have managed to establish a frequently bought together, which means they must be offering incentives for people to buy more than one. So I guess it's because of their bundling approach that they managed to get this really nice organic referral from Amazon saying that these are frequently bought together. But yeah, I mean, this is really great. So some of the other ways, this one, of course, is using the storefront, but some of the other ways include just using video ads, because video ads, again, can be professionally done. They can put you on page one. You just have to pay a little bit extra. Each video ad cost per click, the minimum is 25 cents. So it's a little bit expensive, come to think of it, but in the end, it works out to be much cheaper because of the high conversion rate and the high click-through rate on those. So yeah, so that's those are some of the ways you can mimic the big fish using high quality ads everywhere. Spread yourself out, use bundles, etc. Right on competitor success. So here is an example that I took from the Coca-Cola page. So at the bottom of the Coca-Cola page, there were 3 ads I found, and all 3 of them were these sponsored brands ad related to this category on Amazon. So of course, Pepsi was there. So everyone knows about the rivalry between Pepsi and Coke. This has been like age long. But then I also see these 2 kind of not so well-known companies like Cooluli. Have you guys heard of Cooluli? I hadn't heard of Cooluli. I did a little bit of research. It's cooluli.com. And then Poppy apparently is a Shark Tank product. And again, very new. This is a very new brand. So they have been able to establish a connection with Coca-Cola by simply bidding on them. So this is an ad specifically targeting all of Coca-Cola's products and specifically targeting the whole brand. So that's very easy to do with some of the targeting that Amazon has made available. Let's look at Cooluli. Where is it? Cooluli. Cooluli, yeah. So what is Cooluli? It's just it's a mini fridge. It can sit anywhere. It's one of those cute little things. But the way the ad actually showed up, if you can see here, it actually showed up with a Coca-Cola sticker on it, or maybe it was just, I don't know, it was just a Coca-Cola branding that they ended up using with a Coca-Cola bottle. So anyway, they managed to find their way to advertise on the Coca-Cola brand and took all that traffic because that's where Coca-Cola bottles or cans will go. They will go inside a fridge for the best taste. So really cool way of advertising against a very large brand, right?
So Ritu,
Yes.
would you need a big a lot of money and a lot of budget to actually get into that space and stay there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this the thing right now is that people aren't thinking about these things. So it is cheap, which means that it's going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different for each brand, but and also different for each category. But I don't think this is it's not any different in terms of cost to a regular sponsored product ad. Although sponsored brand ads generally start from 10 cents a click. So you can imagine that it's going to be starting at a little bit higher in terms of cost per click. But that doesn't mean that you have to spend a ton of money. If your targeting is right, then you can do with a small budget even. So even if you can establish your connection through conversions on a Coca-Cola brand, this this becomes organically even suggested sometimes, because on the main page you often have brands related to the search, right? So search related connections can get established through paid advertising. So it doesn't mean that you just got to pay. You can also train the algorithm to then start showing up organically as a brand related to this search, right? So it's just the same as a regular product ad, sponsored product ad. Yeah.
Right. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
There's a follow-up question from Jacob. So, what about bundling your product with items that are frequently bought with your competitor's product?
Yes, yeah. It's a great strategy. So we've got like 10 different strategies for product targeting, and this is one of them. So we basically go through the market basket analysis section of your brand analytics and find out all the different products that are bought together with yours or bought together with your competitors' products, and then go target them, because the chances are that it'll be easier for you to win that battle, right? It'll be easier for you to win that conversion. So yeah, that's a great idea.
So, Gayatri's asking, do we need to bid higher for video ads? I guess you're going to cover video ads
Yeah, video ads are next.
later.
Yeah, video ads are next. So video ads by they start at 25 cents, but what I've seen is that because the conversion rate is so good, because they're very eye-catching, the click-through rate is good, and then if your page is optimized, then your conversion rate will also be good, and so it ends up not being expensive in the long run because of the way the conversions happen. Many more conversions than a regular sponsored product ad. So I'll show you what video ads look like. By now, I guess everyone's seen what video ads look like. So they occupy a pretty large area on mobile devices like this one. And even on desktop, they basically take up the whole entire horizontal space, the horizontal real estate. And they're very prominently placed in the middle of the search results page, right? So, I mean, of course, Amazon keeps testing. Sometimes they test at the bottom of the page, sometimes at the top of the page. For the most part, it's towards the middle. And there's some rumors that, this might even be showing up now on display on the product detail pages as well, but we'll see. So with video ads, again, there's many different ways you can create video ads. You might think that the creation of the video ad is going to be expensive and so on. But I've actually created a video ad in Canva. You guys all know Canva, right? It's easy. It's free. With the free version of Canva, I was able to create a video ad just by using panning and zooming and text animation, which is provided within Canva. So it's not hard. It's just a perception of being hard to put this together, right? So if you have a few main image and your other kind of lifestyle photos, you can mix and match them and kind of have panning and zooming, or you can hire someone on Upwork to make a video ad for you. It's not that hard. So if you do it, you'll probably be one of the early ones, because this is going to get very crowded soon, and then you lose your early mover advantage, right? So what I've observed is that, way back when, like 4 or 5 years ago, advertising used to be super simple. There was just a few keywords. In fact, you could stuff a lot of keywords into a single campaign and still get impressions. Nowadays, you don't get it. You've got to change your strategies. You've got to have leaner campaigns, right? So that every keyword gets exposure. So the game has definitely become very difficult with the keyword-based targeting. But there's these other types that have come up which were never there. We didn't have video ads. We didn't have sponsored display. We didn't have so many types of sponsored brands. So all of that is, the people who've jumped onto those new ad types early have seen results faster. And so I really encourage you to explore all the different ad types that are out there so that you can, diversify and show up in different places and capture more of the market, right?
So Gayatri has a question here. Are video ads only available after brand registry?
Yes, that's correct. Now with brand registry, they've also opened up the applications to people who have trademark pending, I believe. So you don't even need to be fully trademarked in order to get into brand registry. It's become easier and easier. So I would highly recommend getting into brand registry so that you can take advantage of sponsored brands, sponsored display. Those two are the types that you won't get without brand registry. So It's a really great way of getting visibility. Cool. Awesome. So now let's talk about training the algorithm. So when we talk about training the algorithm, we're actually talking about like 4 different ways you can establish connections with your product, right? So you can establish those connections of relevancy with keywords, right? Everybody knows that because that's what you've been taught. That's what most people focus on. Do your keyword research, right? How many of you spend time in doing product research? That's equally important. How many of you do category research or brand research, like knowing all the brands in your space, going after the ones that are either substitutes or complements of your product type is super important. So once you have keyword-based ads, you have product targeting-based ads, category targeting-based ads, and brand targeting-based ads, then you establish these invisible connections between your product and other products, and it becomes faster for Amazon to route things to you, right? Which means that if there is someone searching for a throw, right, and if that throw is very closely related to pillows, cushions, mattresses, and other related products, then your ad might be showing up on those pages as well, and you will get traffic from these other other types of products as well. But if you just wait for organic ranking on just based on keywords, it's going to take a very long time. So you want to cut short that process by forcing or training the algorithm by using advertising, because you can advertise on these and establish those connections yourself. You don't have to wait for Amazon to do it. So this is one of the strategies that I use all the time. I mean, when I launch new products, I always have all 4 types of targeting, so that it's really speeds up the process of ranking on every front, like not only keyword ranking but also product association. And then finally, I want to say that these smart sellers are obsessed with data, right? Gayatri loves data. So you want to be able to use all the different tools that are out there, right? So you've all seen these sorts of charts, right? Helium 10 has a chart that displays as a Chrome plugin. You can just set up the Chrome plugin, and if you have a Helium 10 account, it'll show you the BSR ranking and also the price and all that stuff. You can watch any product, right? Any product can. Ooh, did I just do that? No, not now. Sorry, I was just going to start my computer. Okay, that was bad. Okay. So there's many tools. There's Jungle Scout, there's Merchant Words, there's so many tools out there. You should be taking advantage of all those tools, doing reverse ASINs, finding out what other people are ranking for, which categories they're ranking for, and stuff like that. But also make sure to look at your business report, because in your business report, you have a very important metric, the unit session percentage. This basically tells you what is your conversion rate organically. So what this means is that if your organic unit session percentage is, let's say, 23.5%, as in this particular case, it means that 23% of the traffic that comes to the page actually buys, right? So if you have that number, you know what to prioritize. You know that these products are good because when you send traffic to that page, they're most likely going to be converting at the same rate, regardless of whether the traffic came from organic sources or it came from advertising sources. That doesn't matter, right? So you can just use that data to your advantage by knowing this number up front. You can just say, okay, I know this product converts well. Let me pump more money into this because it's already converting so well. So conversion rate is your guide to being selective about the products that are converting and honing in on them. And also, it's a super useful guide for products that are not converting. So then instead of tearing your going crazy with trying to push through keywords, you should just look at that number, because it'll tell you what needs to be changed. There's probably something on your listing that needs to be improved, or let's say if you've got too many negative stars or negative reviews, you probably won't be able to recover that. So just being realistic about that whole thing and letting go of products that that are not converting clearly. So having all that information and using that data to your advantage is super important. And then finally, I would encourage you guys to always be looking at your brand analytics reports. These will give you so much information. They will tell you what, which search terms rank on Amazon, like what's the search frequency rank of any keyword, actually up to 2 million keywords on Amazon.com. You can find out what's popular. That's a great way of finding out which keywords are popular, which variant of a keyword is more popular than another. So you can use those variants in your listing by placing them in prominent places so that you get most of the traffic. So you can use your search terms view here. You can use your repeat purchase behavior. You can also look at things that were bought together with your product through the market basket analysis, and so on. So there's a lot of data that you're getting for free or paid, but definitely using all those pieces to kind of form this overall picture of where should I focus my energies, where should I channel my advertising dollars so that I can get the best results. So yeah, that's kind of it. Like this was the top 5 things that I've noticed that people do really well in order to advertise their way to the top of page 1 and really be successful with Amazon.
Right. There's one comment from, this is Darren, actually, I checked on Facebook. So this is in response to Guy 3's question about brand registry. So he's saying that you don't necessarily need to be brand registered for video ads. You can ask for it to be added in the back end if video ads aren't there. So this is something that I hadn't heard of. Did you know about this, Mark?
I don't know. Now, I haven't heard of. If you've got it done, you're lucky. I mean, definitely ask for it. I have seen sponsored display being a little bit of that, where someone who doesn't have someone who doesn't have brand registry actually had access to sponsored display ads, and we were really surprised how they had it. So it could be something that you might want to check with seller support, but I doubt it. You could try.
Okay. So do you want to stop sharing your screen, Ritu,
Yes.
and then we'll just continue the discussion. And so guys, if you have any questions for Ritu about Amazon PPC, now's the time to type your questions in the chat box. And Mark, you had a question.
Yeah, look, look, with new sellers, if they're just launching a new product, should they start straight away? Like there's controversy whether you need to have some reviews first, or do you think that the day they launch, they should start running PPC? What's your thoughts on that?
It's a chicken and egg because, in order to get reviews, you need sales, right? And in order to get sales, you've got to get those sales from somewhere, right? And I tend to start all my launches with PPC, and a lot of sellers are beginning to do that. We don't use any black hat techniques. We don't send any external traffic to our pages. So I launch ads from day one. I don't wait for reviews to come in, because reviews can actually take a very long time to come in, and by then you would have lost the initial kind of honeymoon period that is super important for you to kind of rank, and that time is just too precious to waste waiting for reviews to come in and then advertising. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. Like, I mean, I agree with you, but you just hear so much sort of controversy about that point. That people go, oh, haven't got any reviews, I've got to get all my reviews. But I mean, even if you do a early review, you're waiting, probably 2 months or Vine or whatever. So you're well down the track waiting for reviews to do any advertising. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So Alan is saying, I think they introduced video ads to non-brand registered sellers about 3 months ago. I recall seeing an email about this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be the video ads, but I don't know whether you can actually do the PPC video ads. I'm not too sure about that part of it. I think you can add,
Yeah, you can get videos up, right, on your listing.
Yeah.
Videos, yes, videos everyone can get, but ads you need the sponsored brand, because the only way to enter or the only way to create a video ad is through sponsored brands, and I mean that's only available to brand registered sellers. Yeah, so I'm not sure about that. I haven't heard this. This must be fairly new, or I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, we have to.
it's sort of quite confusing sometimes because it's the same thing but different.
Yeah, so
like
you
like
know,
Amazon does a lot of things
Yeah.
sort of the same but different.
yeah, videos are definitely available to everyone now. Anyone can upload videos to their
Yeah.
listing, but video ads are
That's
different.
the difference.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Right. Well, Alan has to get changed for golf.
Have a good time, Alan.
Have a great time. Okay, Gayatri saying, I seem to be spending a ton of money on PPC on keywords targeting.
Yeah, yeah. Gayatri, try are you brand registered? If you are, then try to create more ad types so that you can kind of diversify. Diversification has a really positive effect on your overall conversions through ads. If you're just trying to focus on keywords, you might not be able to see um, profitable conversions, because a lot of keywords have become very, very competitive. So in order for you to kind of not lose money, you can diversify. So some of the ways to diversify are through product targeting and category targeting as well. I wonder if you run those two. You should. If you don't, you should. And also brand targeting. So targeting whole brands. That's also available through your sponsored products product targeting section. You can actually go and target brands and categories. So your friend
Right.
Loza.
So she's saying
Registry.
your brand registry. She's not yet brand registered, but Loza and Loza is the company that's working on her brand registry or on her trademark
weeks
registration.
away.
IP Accelerator. Tina
Yeah.
Loza does
Yeah.
the IP
Yeah.
Accelerator.
Oh yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Oh yay.
Yay, Gayatri. It's going to be awesome. Great
Yeah.
advice. Thanks. Right. So, guys, if you have any more questions, type them in the comments now. Ritu will answer all of your PPC related questions. So, Margaret, do you have any more questions for Ritu before we start talking about the workshop?
Well, what do you think, like, say you've just got one product, what do you think's a sort of fair budget people should be looking at? If they're just doing their costings to start on Amazon and they have no idea what this PPC really means, what would you suggest would be a fair budget for their first couple of months to get their product going on a product probably to start with?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I do get asked that quite a bit. So let me just explain this from the point of view of conversion rate. So what happens is that, in order for you to decide your budget, you need to see how many clicks will result in a single sale. So let's say if your conversion rate is something like 20%, what that means is that 1 in every 5 click will result in a sale. So that's the way the equation works out. So if your conversion rate is 20%, which is a great conversion rate, you will need to spend 5 clicks in order to get a sale, right? Just doing the math on that.
Yeah.
And let's say if each click is going to cost you let's say $1, right? So you're going to be spending $5 to get one sale, right? So that's the way you calculate your budget. If you want one sale a day, then you at least allocate $5, or better still, double that, make it $10 in order to get one sale. What happens is that when you start on Amazon and you have no history, your conversion rates are very low. So your conversion rates could be 5%, not 20. It could be 5%, which means you need 20 clicks in order to make one sale. And that 20 clicks would mean $20. So your budget needs to be at least $20 to be able to make one sale a day. So it's just a reverse math of your conversion rate, right? And what I've seen is that when a product is brand new, the conversion rate is extremely low. But once it starts to pick up sales, your conversion rate actually does improve a little bit over time. And if it is a really good product, then you can establish a fairly stable conversion rate, and you can bank on that, and you can do your calculations based on that conversion rate.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
So here's a question from Kelly. Is it cheaper to do PPC on a listing with parent, child, or separate listing? How does that work?
I don't think it's cheaper or not. I think with parent-child, generally it's a very important kind of decision point, whether you should be which of your children should you be uh, advertising on, right? So I would say the one that has the most kind of natural conversion, high conversion rate, use that as the poster child. And for separate listing, it's not really a problem. But for when you have a bunch of variations, pick the one that's already doing well and make that your poster child and advertise to that. Because if you kind of put all of your children into a single ad, you can't control it. Like your Amazon won't be able to give you anything other than the one thing that is converting anyway. So let's say you have three variations. One of them you have a lot of stock of, right? You might want to move that. You want to get some momentum on that variation, but it's not moving because Amazon is just sending traffic to the one that is converting or has shown conversions. So in those cases, I sometimes split those out. I create two separate campaigns so that I can get two separate spots on the search results page with two ads. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't think it's cheaper or not. It's more a matter of like whether it converts well or not. If something converts well, it will be cheap eventually. It'll start to get cheaper and cheaper over time.
Okay, here's a question from Sharon. For my first product, I will run out of stock for a few weeks before my second order arrives. Will it benefit the listing to keep a very low PPC amount going while out of stock?
So when you're going out of stock, your PPC will stop, right? So, but I think you're talking about the period leading up to the time when it will go out of stock. I think that's a fair approach. There's two different approaches here. People, sometimes want to, run out of stock on a high note because kind of the algorithm remembers that. So when you do come back in stock, you have the advantage of starting from that high note, or you have the benefit of the doubt from Amazon. You have a high BSR when you went out of stock. But some people also want to not be out of stock for too long. So I guess it's a complicated choice of like how many weeks will you be out of stock for. If you know that beforehand, if it's just going to be a couple of weeks, then you might want to slow down and let the kind of the sales kind of flow through consistently, instead of like forcing the product to go out of stock with your PPC efforts. But it's a complicated decision. I don't think I have found a clean answer for that. Well, I can tell you what I do. I generally let my ads run till the very end, and then we shut off the listing. We close the listing to preserve the rank. Now there is no guarantee that closing your listing will ensure that when it comes back that it would definitely bounce back to the rates that it that you had before. But there are some ways to kind of recover that by always running a coupon as soon as you get back in stock, so that you kind of force this spike when things are back, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Amazon will favor your product if you can prove to it that it's selling, right? That at the end of the day, sales are all that matter.
If the algorithm likes conversion rate, why not build qualified buyers outside of Amazon, then direct buyers to Amazon for the final purchase? Example, create a sales funnel with buy page directing to buy via Amazon.
Yeah, so I think you're talking about a landing page where you basically send traffic first and then, make sure that they are convinced and only then send that traffic to Amazon. That's a fairly valid way of doing things. But yeah, I mean, if you can build a community and have that, that whole system in place, then definitely that's something that you can try. For most people, it's very hard to even invest in building a community outside of Amazon, and Amazon is all they know and all they do, right? They just use Amazon ads, and I like your idea. It's definitely something that I've heard people do a lot, but it also requires effort, and it also requires a community to start with.
Okay, Sharon says great advice. Thank you. Kelly says okay. Okay, so let's spend a couple of minutes now talking about the workshop that's coming up pretty soon. So this is the first ever Amazon PPC workshop. It's live. It's going to be held over 2 days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here and just show the website a little bit. And then Ritu, if you could talk about the workshop and specifically tell people how they would benefit by attending the workshop, that'd be awesome. So the workshop is on theasianseller.com. If you go to that page, just click over here on PPC workshop at the top to go to the webpage. So Ritu, over to you.
Yeah, so yeah, first of all, I want to say that this workshop is like Megla said, this is going to be one of a kind. It's going to be the first kind of live in-person training, and of course you guys will get recording and all that, but you'll have a chance to interact with so many people through a Zoom call, and we'll be able to learn and get your questions answered. Because a lot of time with courses and stuff, what happens is that you get all the materials and then you might have a question. You're like, oh my goodness, how do I ask this question? So I believe there's going to be a Telegram group, and you will be able to ask questions and interact with other people as well as me. So that's, I think, highly valuable. If I had someone I could, run to every single time I had a question about PPC, I would be like thrilled, So, if you're going to be there, this is something to be thrilled about. So that's one. Second, I want to just say that, there's a lot of complex ideas that, PPC is complex, right? So there's a lot of complex concepts. There's a lot of learning that happens along the way that if you can get the advantage of learning from all of my experiences, because I manage like 6, 7, and 8-figure brands with millions of dollars that I manage for them, and that basically gives me access to a ton of data. And a lot of experiments, right? So I've been experimenting with so many different ad types, and I've seen them all. I've seen which ones work, which ones don't. So this will be a chance for me to kind of demystify PPC for you guys, and basically simplify everything. Like, there's so much complexity here. My goal is to make you guys fall in love with PPC if you're not already. That's always been my goal, and I really want you to be thrilled at the thought of PPC, not think of it as a dry subject or something that's going to drain you of your cash. No, I think it's the other way around. Is you need the investment mentality. You want to see, oh, how can I invest in these stocks so that I get a like a GameStop event happening. So you look at it as an investment, and that's my goal, to teach you all the different techniques that are out there, so that you can not be afraid of PPC, not being afraid of making mistakes with PPC, and at the same time, really accelerating your learning. Because in 6 hours, at the end of 6 hours, you will know so much more. Like, you will maybe start from scratch, and at the end of 6 hours of across 2 days, of course, you would have 1 week to kind of practice the concepts we do on day one, and then followed by presentations and interactions that will give you a chance to solidify what you've learned. So really going to be an exciting time to kind of use 6 hours of your time as an investment to really get this very difficult area of Amazon. So
So let's also talk about, who is this workshop for?
correct. Yeah. So who is this workshop for? It is for people who are fairly new to Amazon or who have just started, their journey of PPC. So this is going to cover all the basic concepts, things like how to set up ads, like what are the different ad types, what are the different match types, things like that. So it's going to be basic, but with a lot of depth. So it's if some of you are thinking, oh gosh, I wish I had a chance to go back. Like I went back to school way back when I went back to school. My school training was, separated by many, many years. I won't tell you how many, but but you guys can kind of go back, if you think that, oh, my fundamentals are weak, oh, I just still don't get PPC, I keep outsourcing and I just I don't get a handle on my PPC. You guys should also join. That would be really good for you to kind of go back to the basics, start with a beginner's mind, and really grasp things from the start, right? So it's going to be great for all these types of people.
Yeah,
so I think the content.
I totally agree with Ritu. I mean, it is a subject that people are really scared of, and it's lovely that I love your positive spin, Ritu. It is necessary. It is a part of the business, and it is an investment. And once people think that in their heads, and then you get that positivity and not a negativity, then you move forward.
Right. Yeah. Even if you have, let's say, a VA or an outside agency that's managing your account for you, if you have like this basic understanding of how PPC works, like if you can invest 6 hours of your time in understanding all the basics, then you can guide them better. You won't be at mercy. Like you won't be wondering why it's not working. It's like, those are the questions that frustrate a lot of people, and they keep hopping agencies. They're like, oh, that person did a horrible job, they messed up my PPC. When you don't know how PPC runs, then you will get situations where you will think everything is messed up, even if it's not, even if you don't really understand it. You'll think, oh gosh, why is my cost so high, or why is this way? So this is also great for you if you really want to solidify your understanding, so that your team can then do a good job, and you can tell your team some neat tricks that you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think also PPC has changed a lot from just the basic. Like if you started, 4 years ago, there was really only,
oh my goodness,
one type of PPC. Now there's so many different variants that you can use that a lot of people have probably missed those, because unless you reading Amazon's front page every day or something, you don't keep up. There's a lot to keep up with.
There's a lot to keep up with. Like almost every month they're coming up with newer, better ways of advertising, even though on the surface it looks like, oh, there's 3 ad types, but within those there's these small little things, small little details that they will change, they will add. Some new reports will be out, and if you don't know where to find things on the map, you will be always lost. You'll always be behind. You'll always be looking at the new stuff that comes out, and you'll just skip those emails that that you get from Amazon. You'll be like, oh, they're saying something. Yeah, okay, later. So that happens a lot to people. So this would be a good.
What I really liked about this, about the content that you've put together for the workshop, Ritu, is that it really builds a strong foundation on which you can build your, PPC campaigns and build your, because everything keeps changing, as you said. But if you don't have a strong foundation, if you don't understand the basics, then it's difficult to implement the new stuff, because you really don't know, how it affects what. So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so Gayatri has a question as well. How prepared should we be to attend this PPC training workshop? Pre-study, any reports we need to pull off from our campaign so that we can follow what you're talking about?
I love that question. I love it so much. So I think bring all the material you have, like everything that you think is related to PPC, bring it to the class. So if you want me to look at your, let's say, your business report or your search term report or targeting report, placement report, any kind of report, bring that along, because on day 2, we're going to be doing analytics. So we will actually be looking at data, because that's one of the important things that, these that I showed you today, that a lot of sellers actually do. So bring all the reports. That would be your prep. And of course, if you have any ads running, just kind of get just bring it along. Just bring everything you have.
Yeah, and Gayatri, we will also send out an email to all participants with what you need to be prepared, and how you need to prepare, and what reports you need to bring, and everything. So we're going to be sending out an email, and of course you'll be in the Telegram group as well. So yeah, don't worry about that. We'll send you all of the information before the workshop starts.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kelly saying, I'd like to join your workshop, but I'm unable to fill in the credit card payment details. Yes, Kelly. So about your email, I was going to reply to you later today. So have you tried to sign up from the desktop? Because I think if you sign up from desktop, you should be able to see the letters as well. I think the problem was that you weren't able to see letters. You were trying to put in your PIN code or your postal code, but you weren't able to see any letters on the keypad. I think you were signing up from mobile, but if you try to sign up from the desktop, you should be able to see, you should be able to enter letters as well as numbers. So give that a try. If not, I will reach out to you separately and we'll figure out a way to fix that. Gayatri says, I'm actually outsourcing PPC now, but would want to take it into my own hands.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, so
I think that's a great idea. That you can't just afford to pay anybody to do your PPC and then just think, just go ahead and I'll give you $500 or $250. You need to know in your mind where it's going. There's no point sort of just getting somebody and here's somebody to play with. And away you go, and every month they give you an invoice, and you gladly pay it, but you haven't got a clue where it's all going.
Yeah.
So no,
totally.
I think it's fantastic that and the people are just starting off with their the Amazon, getting everything going with Amazon. Hey, if you get this going and sort of you get it in your head, at least you know that when you go to launch, that you've got a preconceived plan. And you can always go back to Ritu at any time to find out more of what's going on. So no, it's a great way to start.
Yeah, totally agree. So Ritu, let's talk about the agenda as well. So what are you going to cover on day one?
Yes. So day one, we're going to be talking about all the basics. So we're going to be talking about the different ad types. We're going to be talking about campaign creation. So the nuts and bolts of PPC, essentially, right? So there's today I just touched on the 3 different major ad types. We're going to go inside those and try to figure out like how we can use all the settings there. So we will be looking at campaign creation best practices. So that would give you an idea of how many campaigns should I start with? 1 campaign, 2 campaigns, 15, 20, 30, like what should be the ideal structure to kind of have a positive impact on your sales as soon as you start launching different products. So it's going to be all about the nuts and bolts of PPC. So that's your day one. And then you will get some chances to kind of set new types of campaigns up before we meet for the second part of the workshop, which will be the PPC management side of things, right? So you've launched your campaigns, but now you've got to manage it. That's the hard part. And that's where we will go deep into, troubleshooting and understanding what the data is saying and looking at your data and making a decision about what to do next, because your data is screaming at you, but you have to do something about it right at that point. So most people will panic and they will say, oh, this is not working, and they will pause their ads, or oh, this is not working, they will drop their bids and they will lose it, right? You've got to have a certain sense of how long should you wait before you back off, or so all those things we'll cover in management and troubleshooting. And we'll also talk about ad diversification, which will be your way to kind of make sure that your ads show up in different placements. So we'll talk about different types of ads that will help you diversify. Yeah, and so of course, in addition, the bonus materials that we'll be giving out. First of all, you will learn where everything is. Like you'll get this map of navigating your Seller Central Campaign Manager to find out, all the different parts that are important for campaign management, so that you can look at it and not worry. I remember the first time when I was given access to Campaign Manager, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I really did not know how to navigate the thing. What I was afraid that I would make a mistake. I was afraid that I might inadvertently change the bid and then something bad would happen without really understanding, that it's okay. It's okay. So we look at the layout and all the different parts of your Seller Central Campaign Manager. We'll also give you an access to a comprehensive PPC management system. And I think that's something you will acquire over the 2 days. Like, you will understand how to go about managing your PPC. And so it'll be a nice PDF with timelines and stuff like that. We'll also talk about indexation, which is like one of those fundamental things. Before you can even do your PPC, you've got to be indexed for certain keywords, right? So we'll talk about those. And of course, we'll have lots of interaction, like we'll have quizzes and presentations. And then, we can also do a live audit, and we will ask for volunteers. So if you've already got like a PPC set up and, you want me to take a look at your setup, I can do an audit, and we can do it live, or if you want to do it, just one-on-one, that's also okay. So we'll do all of these exciting things during this entire workshop. And the Telegram group, maybe Megla can talk about that.
Yes. So the Telegram group, I think this is probably one of the most valuable things that people have found. When we do such workshops, we've done a couple of different workshops, the listing optimization, we've done boot camp with Tim Jordan a couple of times. And we've always had this Telegram group where attendees can engage with each other and also with the instructor. So you'll have direct access to Ritu. And the way it works is we'll do the first day on, if you're in the US, then it's going to be Friday evening. If you're in Asia or Australia, it's going to be Saturday morning. And we'll do the first session over one weekend. And then you'll have a week to digest everything that Ritu has shared and to process all of the information, because it can get very overwhelming. So during that 1 week, you can come back into the Telegram group anytime, and you can ask Ritu any questions that you might have about the materials that were shared on day one or anything else. I mean, you basically have the opportunity to go implement what you've learned and then, ask questions about that. And then we come back the next weekend, Friday and Saturday, and then we do day 2. And even after the workshop finishes, we'll still keep the Telegram group, and Ritu will be active in the group for a couple of weeks. And so again, if you have any questions, you can always come back in there and ask Ritu questions. So I mean, people who've attended the listing workshop, Gayatri, you were in the listing workshop. You can share your experience with the with the Telegram group and how you were able to get answers really quickly from Verity, who did the listing optimization workshop. And I think people. The listing optimization workshop was done a couple of weeks ago, where people are still asking questions over there, and Verity is, very graciously still answering questions. So this is, I think, a huge benefit of any of this workshop, like having direct access to somebody who really understands the topic and is an expert. So that's one of
And Ritu, you very generously offered our European and English friends, because of the time zone, that you do a second.
Yeah.
Just to suit them. That's very good.
If you guys are in Europe, we're doing a separate workshop just for you, so that you don't Megla said something really funny. What was it, Megla? You gotta say it. Something about putting toothpicks to keep your eyes open or something like that.
Because it's so difficult to manage the different time zones. So usually we can only cater to 2 areas. So it's either UK, Australia, or it's either, Australia, US. So, I mean, most of the people in our group are from the US and Australia. So we generally cater to those 2 regions. But there are some people from the UK as well. So what we've said is that if there are at least 30 people who are interested in a separate workshop that will be at a decent time for UK folks, then Ritu will do a second one. I don't see too many requests as yet. There's a post in our Facebook group. If you are interested in this workshop, if you're based in the UK or Europe, And if you're interested in this second workshop, go into the Facebook group and put your name on the post over there. If we get 30 people who are interested in joining this workshop, then we'll do the second one. If not, then you're most welcome to join the main workshop and use toothpicks to keep your eyes open, or
watch the replay.
Watch the replay and then come back into the Telegram group and ask Ritu any questions that you might have.
Whatever works for you.
Guys were saying, even yesterday I was able to contact Verity because of the Telegram group contact. Yes, absolutely. Okay, here's a question from Kelly. I'm not selling yet. I have brand analytics. Should I wait for the next workshop? So I guess the question is, Kelly, when are you expecting to go live? I mean, if you are expecting to go live in the next couple of months, then you should do the workshop now, because the next PPC workshop will probably be in July or August. So if you do expect to go live before that, then do this workshop. If not, then you can wait. So yeah, that would be my answer. I just want to share some testimonials that of people who worked with Ritu. Of course, this is not the workshop as such, but this is these are people who are talking about Ritu's mastermind, basically. And so they're saying the course was informative, easy to understand, and Ritu is very knowledgeable and can answer any question. Ritu created a great environment to learn a very hard subject. Ritu creates a very open, non-judging environment at a pace that is comfortable to maintain. And these are some testimonials, but the most important testimonial that I want to highlight is from Jason Tay. And, this coming from Jason Tay is a huge deal, because for guys who know Jason, you know that he really is very careful about who he recommends, and he doesn't recommend many people very often. And, he's very open about criticizing people as well. And so if he's, saying this about you, Ritu, then there's something very, very special here.
Yay. So much.
And I mean, Jason is one of the people that works really, really close with the Amazon team in Singapore as well. So, I mean, they really trust him. They don't work with too many other people, and he's one of the few people that he works with. So Jason is saying, Ritu is very good. I've spent about 14 hours on masterminds and co-hosting webinars with her. She really knows her stuff, has a wealth of practical PPC expertise backed by extensive real-world experience, and makes things easy to understand. She also has a very effective approach to implementing, scaling, and managing PPC. Highly recommended. So this is absolutely amazing. If this does not convince people, I don't know what will. And another testimonial is from Bernie Thompson, who is the CEO of Pluggable Technologies. And, Pluggable is an 8-figure brand. They do electronics, and Ritu manages ads for our 8-figure brand and has taught hundreds of Amazon sellers the strategies and tricks of the platform. This class is a great opportunity to raise your Amazon game. So again, all of these testimonials really speak about, Ritu's expertise and her skills. So, okay, Gayatri has one question. How do I approach the process of taking PPC into my own hands from the VA? I'm not very happy with them as of now. They're not giving me reports on time. Well, Gayatri, I think first of all, you need to fire them. If you're not happy with them, then
that's what I was going to say, Megla. Sack them.
Right? Yeah.
Give them the sack.
I would just say that, whenever something is too much of a black box, that's a problem. Whether it's a tool or a person, if they're concealing too much information from you and you're not getting the full picture, it is a problem. And, part of the problem could be on your side as well, because you don't understand PPC fully. So you're like willing to outsource it to someone else, right? And so that's one of the goals of this workshop, to make you competent and confident in your ability to understand the basic concepts, so that you're not reliant on black box type of external support, which is, I would feel super uncomfortable if I didn't know something myself and then I handed over to someone and then they didn't give me reports on time in an easy to understand manner. I would definitely spend time understanding what to ask even from them, like which reports to ask and how should they present the data to you, so that you can see the week-on-week progress, or month-on-month, or quarter-by-quarter progress on things that are moving, that are important to you.
Excellent.
Right. So I just want to quickly go over the dates and timings as well. So if you're in the United States, then the workshop is on Friday, the 12th of March. And also the next Friday, 19th of March. And timings are very convenient timings. So 4 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Central, and 7 p.m. Eastern. So it's about 3 hours. And usually we overrun these workshops because we try to answer everybody's questions. And so even if we have to stay, 30 minutes, an hour after the time officially ends, we do that happily. So if you are joining in from Asia, Australia, or currently Europe, then the two dates are Saturday, 13th of March, and then 20th of March, Saturday. And the timings in GMT are 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. So that's when you have to use your toothpicks if we don't go ahead with the second workshop. India, it's 5:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Not bad. Singapore, Perth, 8 to 11. Melbourne, 11 a.m. And New Zealand, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So those are the dates. Check them out as well. And so, Margaret, I also wanted to ask you, you work with so many different sellers and you do coaching and all of that. So a lot of the sellers, of course, have done courses like they do, Freedom Ticket or maybe another course. So how would you say these workshops that we do, how are these workshops different from, let's say doing a course? And do people need to do both or can they just do one or the other?
Oh, I think you need some sort of, even the Freedom Ticket. I mean, to start Amazon, to me, to start this without having some basic knowledge of the whole spectrum of what you've got to do is just totally disaster, because, you're opening up a business and you haven't got a mentor or anyone. Like if you go and buy a franchise, the franchise company steps you through it. But if you open this up and you don't know what you're doing, and look, you see a few posts and you think these people have obviously done no course because they don't know what they're doing. So they need the basics, but none of the actual courses go deep into PPC. It's like, and you need to do PPC, but there's not a real big session on how to do it. And I think it's such a big topic and such a complex topic that it's something that you do need to do separately, even if you've done a course. And I don't think, any course that you've done probably covers PPC. I don't know of any that have got a huge PPC module in them. So I think that this is like a little add-on that, and look, you can go through thousands of dollars if you're not careful. I mean, I've had a few new sellers who come in and how much have you spent? Oh, I'm up to $1,000. And you're going, for God, they've only got one product. So you've got to be careful because it can quickly, if you set up 3 or 4 campaigns at $20 a day and it's not converting, before you know it, you've just blown through, $1,000 very quickly, and you haven't really achieved anything because you don't know what you're doing. You're just throwing that $1,000, washing it down the drain. So I think to spend a couple of $100 and do some training is going to save you in the long term, a lot of money, because it's very daunting when you first start with the PPC and, people don't even understand. Like I speak to people and they say to me, but how does it work? And I say, well, if we click on this sponsored ad, we just spend $1 out of someone's pocket, and people can't believe that. And I say, we might have 50 people click on that in a day. Like, you've got to allow for that. So I think it's just people, and we've got a lot of new people, new sellers who are probably just starting ordering products and things who don't really know what this beast is. Like, it's very hard to understand unless you've actually been involved in Amazon or you've listened to somebody who's, done a fairly in-depth story on how PPC works. You don't really know exactly what it is. And, then we get into video ads and all the more complex, sponsored brands and, sponsored products. There's so many things you can sort of do. So I think if people just go off and click all those boxes and start running, campaigns here, there and everywhere with hundreds of keywords in them, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Whereas you can, and I also know people who pay experts to run their PPC for, $500 a month. And then I say, how are you going? Oh, I'm not really getting anywhere. How long have you been here? 6 months. And you go, oh, how much have you wasted? And then they say, oh, we're spending a couple of $1,000s a month. But are you any better off? No, because they don't know what they're doing. They've just let this company take over their PPC, but they don't really know whether these people know enough about their product and what's happening. So I think it's important to actually understand what you're doing before you even, think down the track of handing it out to an agency or a VA or something, because if you don't...
Mark, do you think a live interactive workshop with, like an expert like Ritu, people will actually, sort of get into the classroom? It's another type of environment. and people can actually explore, different avenues of learning rather than, some people learn in different ways. I know I always learn better in a group, where it's sort of, I don't necessarily learn by reading a book as such, a book of instructions. I far better learn by being with a group and learning from the group and discussing, certain points, and then, taking those points away from those conversations. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, it's not even really, a book is Ritu on PPC, and it's so complex. There's so many situations that, for someone to just sit down and write, okay, point A, do this, point B, do that, because there's always a variant, there's always a variable somewhere in everything. So I think by sitting down and doing it live, and you can ask a question if it's something that doesn't fit your particular brief, you can stop and say, but hang on, how would I do that? Because I've got a different, scenario or something. So I think this way it's a lot easier to actually learn a little bit more about, and it's a small group. You're not talking, 1,000 people on a webinar or something. You're talking a small, intimate group of people where you can actually get a chance to ask questions and, go back on the Telegram group if you still, have problems. So I think it's, well, to me, ideal. It's a really... Yeah. Well, it's a low-cost way because, $200, let me tell you, can go nowhere in PPC. You can just wake up one morning and go, my God, where did that money go? So I think, people don't realise, and I think new people, until they've, been, launched and struggling away on their own for a while with one or two products, don't realise how much the PPC can quickly run away. And like if you launch in October, November, December, as Ritu will probably go over, PPC runs rampant, and you can spend, my God, how much in PPC in those months. Yeah, easily. So I think, because we had a few people launched last October, November, December, and, people say, oh my God, I've spent all this money. And it is very hard because it's more competitive because there's more sales. And if you're not, haven't got your listing right and you're not ranked properly and everything else before you start running wild with these campaigns in those months, you're just going to burn all your profit, really.
Right. So Kevin, you are part of so many groups and you're very active in all of the different Facebook groups, and you talk to so many people every day, top sellers and experts, and you sort of have a pulse on what's going on in the Amazon industry. And also, have you seen any other courses like this that really go in depth into PPC? Courses or masterminds or workshops. Have you seen anything else like this out there?
No, not particularly. No, it's more, you sort of join the club, and you sort of it's a they'll just look after your PPC, and you're sort of giving them your listing, and you're giving everything over to them, but not where people can actually, from the ground. That's why I'm sort of so excited about Ritu, the workshop, is because it is a little bit sort of groundbreaking for people who are new that can actually come on board, and it's a new classroom, and we're all starting off in preschool, sort of thing. You'll soon get up to secondary sort of skill status, on day 2. By day 2, you'll be well up there, won't they, Ritu? With knowledge.
Yeah. So I'm just reminded of, I went to engineering college, and our books used to be so thick we could never get through the entire. If there was like so much material, there was no way you could actually skim every page and read the whole book. And our teacher used to kind of joke about it that your books can double up as pillows because they're so fat, they're so thick. They were so much content. So what the kind of best way of going through that entire content quickly and efficiently, it always used to be studying with a buddy, someone who knew a little bit more than you, because then they could point you to the right sections and say, okay, if you do this and this and this, then you'll be able to solve these sorts of problems. Or even the patterns that they would be able to shortcut us to, those used to be our best ways of learning. We always had these buddy groups, and there were some people who were nerds, and we would say, okay, nerds, please just give us the main points and we'll be fine. So this is almost like that. It's like a lot of people are spending lots and lots of money to try out different ads, and we're kind of crystallizing all of that and distilling it for you in the form of really pointing you into, the exact thing that you need to be paying attention to, and you don't need to read all the manuals that are out there.
No.
Just focus on the stuff that's most important and that will give you results. So I think that's another benefit of doing it through this workshop. It's a shortcut.
Yeah,
and look,
Right.
I mean, look, there's horses for courses. I mean, look, there's a lot of big brands out there, and there's a lot of big, budget companies that are, I mean, you look at Amazon, there's 8-9 figure sort of sellers in the Amazon world. I mean, that's huge. People selling at that rate. I mean, obviously, they're sort of PPC budget, and so that's when an agency sort of has got to take sort of hold. But I mean, if we're talking sort of a different level, and people are sort of going to learn that journey from the beginning. Talking about sort of high level at this stage. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to answer this question? Where do I need to look to find if the sale is organic or from PPC until you get the report from Helium?
Right. So basically, the fastest ways to check are on Seller Central Campaign Manager. So if you go to your campaign manager, there's always going to be a 12 to 24-hour delay in Amazon's data. But for the most part, you can go straight to Amazon and through Campaign Manager. It doesn't happen through as soon as the sale happens, but that's something that Amazon. That's an Amazon issue. It's not anything to do with any software. It's Amazon's, window of kind of discounting all the clicks that were either fraudulent clicks. So they're always looking for bots that are clicking and discounting those clicks, or they're also looking at refunds or sales that didn't actually go through. So all that reconciliation happens between like 12 to 24 hours or so. So the first day or so, the data is always going to be muddy. So you want to ignore the last bit of data, because you'll see that your ACOS on the previous day is always the highest. I mean, it tends to be, because you might see clicks first before the sale gets attributed. And so then there's also this thing called the attribution window, which is like for sponsored products, it will be 7 days. And so for those 7 days, you'll still, each time you go back to your Seller Central, you'll see that the number just keeps ticking up or down, because that's the time you need, because Amazon is tracking that click and tracking the sale when it happened. They might click and put that item in their cart, but may not buy until a few days later. So all those get kind of reconciled within 7 days. So the first 7 days, or the last 7 days actually, will always be muddy. So just keep that in mind.
Great,
And
awesome.
can I just say one thing? I think if people are starting out and have got a limited budget and they want to do one paid additional training thing, that it should be their PPC. I mean, if you're starting off writing your listing, if you've got Helium 10, you go in and you watch Freedom Ticket, you watch Project X, it shows you how to do a listing, it shows you how to, do all those keyword research, all those things are there. I think they even do how to do a shipping plan, but there's still not a lot of information about setting up PPC and the ongoing work of a PPC campaign. So, I mean, everything else in Amazon, you can usually find it somewhere in a training module that's for free. But I think to find any real in-depth information about PPC, there just isn't anything. So to me, this $200 investment is probably the major investment that anyone starting out should be happy to spend, if they don't want to go off and do, 20 different, workshops along the way, because it is, well, I just find it's the most confusing and the most hard to deal with whole thing of Amazon. I mean, I'll write 1,000 listings before I'll do my PPC.
The training modules are at least a few months old. That's right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, Ritu, thank you so much for your time today. It was, really informative, and we are really, really looking forward to the workshop. So, guys watching, definitely check out the workshop, sign up for it. If you're selling on Amazon, if you're just starting out, or even if you're experienced, this is really a no-brainer because PPC is one of the few things that can really help increase your sales. I mean, there's listing, there's PPC, there's not too many things on Amazon, and so what we are doing with this whole series of workshops is trying to really identify what are the key aspects that sellers are struggling with, and then we're trying to identify experts that really specialize in those areas, and then bringing those experts to you in these live workshops. So the three key workshops that we have as of now is, first of all, product discovery, a boot camp with Tim Jordan, and the next one is coming up in May. And then we have listing optimization workshop with Verity. The next one is coming up in June. And then, of course, the PPC workshop, which is coming up next week. But we are going to be doing these workshops on a regular basis because there are new people joining our groups and our communities all the time. So we want to be able to help all of the people who join and who are maybe at different stages in their business. So if you're not able to join the workshop now, if you think you're not ready, then you can always join the next one as well. Not an issue. Okay, and most of all these workshops are interactive. Absolutely, yes, Gayatri. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And we make sure that the instructor responds to each and every person's question, and I'm very particular about those things, and I make sure that we are, even after the workshop, if there's a question in the group and the instructor has not responded, I'll quickly go to them and tell them that, hey, there's a question in the group, do you want to quickly go in there and respond? So I definitely make sure that your questions are answered as soon as possible.
I'll vote
just
for that,
starting out.
Megla. I'll vote for that one, Megla.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I'm just starting out and do not have a product in Amazon yet. Is it too early to do this workshop? Margaret, do you want to respond to this?
Look, I think it depends how far you are. If you haven't actually done your product yet, which means you probably are, I would say, if you're sourcing from India or out of our group, 6 months away. So I would think you've got plenty of time to maybe do your keyword research first, write your listing, and then you've got to understand what we're talking about keywords and optimized listings and all that, and then start it. And the only people I think that this works for is someone who's about to go live. So if you've got a product that's not going to be live by the next workshop in July, yes, you should sort of get in. So just when that's going live, because you don't want to be live for 8 weeks, wasting that honeymoon period and knowing nothing. If you can get in and do this course in the meantime, but I think if you're 6 months away, you might forget what you learn. So I think unless you've got your product on the seed or just about in your listing, you've done a bit of work on keyword research and listing optimization, writing your listing, then it's the time, because you're going to know a lot more about what you need to know with your PPC as well. I don't know.
Yeah, and things.
Do you agree? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. The 6 months, they would probably forget, and the whole fun of being able to ask questions with live data is different. So
Yeah.
I would recommend joining back a little bit later when you really have something to test on.
Yeah, and you can join the listing optimization workshop first, because I think listing optimization and PPC sort of work together hand in hand, because if you're doing great PPC but you don't have a good listing, it's not going to convert. So, I think they sort of work hand in hand. And on that note, I just want to add that anybody who's attended one of our workshops will get a 10% discount on all future workshops. So, and of course, I've told all of our past attendees about this as well, but just so you know. Kevin, you were saying something.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it's sort of nice that with Ritu's workshop too, that people, if they've got examples, they can bring them to the classroom and you can work through them, and that's another wonderful way of learning. If they've got and sort of maybe they come away and they've got campaigns ready to roll, and so it's going to save them a lot of effort, time, and they're set on the road, sort of thing. And if they're going to walk away with a successful campaign, they're going to get their money back tenfold.
Yeah. And do you remember that happened a couple of times at the listing workshop? So Verity actually did live reviews of some of the listings that people had. And not only Verity, but other attendees also gave their feedback. And,
Yeah.
there were people who, because when you're doing your listings or a PPC, you're so involved, you're too close to it and you don't kind of see opportunities or gaps. But if you get somebody else to take a look at your listings or PPCs and they have, a fresh set of eyes, then they're
Yeah.
able to identify gaps and opportunities for you to make changes. So I think that's a big advantage as well. In a small group setting, you can talk about your products openly, and you don't have this, because if you can't really talk about your products openly in a group of 50,000 people, because somebody or the other is going to jump on your listing the next day. But if it's a small group of 50, 80 people, then it's safer to do that.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
look, it's an intimate group in a good setting, and it's interactive and it's live, and people can sort of put their cards on the table, so to speak, and sort of show. And don't be afraid to sort of show things, guys. I mean, we're not all going to run away with your your ideas or whatever. The more that you can trust the process, the more you'll come away with.
Right. Okay, so let's wrap this webinar up over here. We've been going for almost 1.5 hours.
Oh, really?
So,
wow. Too much fun.
So, thank you very much, Ritu, for joining us, and we will see you at the workshop. And all of you guys watching, we really, really look forward to seeing you at the workshop as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Ritu.
Okay.
As always.
Guys.
Pleasure.
See you soon.